So hello everybody, and I think the screen is now visible. I hope the audio is also clear. So we can start with the next question on computation of gross total income. You are again given a profit and loss account of Mr. I, and he's engaged in the business of manufacture and sale of engineering goods, etc. There are various items of income apart from gross profit which are credited to profit and loss account, and there is the additional information also. So we have to analyze the whole thing including the additional information, and then we will have to see how we can compute the income of this person. Let me just format this so things are visible. Okay, so there are adjustments like there is a depreciation as per IT rules. There's some portion of travel and entertainment is considered as personal. Bad debts recovered during the year were not allowed as deduction in earlier previous years, so we have to think about this. There are two properties, HP1 is let out and HP2 is self-occupied. Interest and finance expenses include interest on home loan of rupees 12,000 for HP1 and rupees 24,000 for HP2. Okay, this is the information. So with this, let us see how we can proceed. Okay. I will first go to the credit side of P&L account, income side, and we will see what kind of heads of income that we are likely to encounter. First is a gross profit. So as usual, it's going to be the business income itself. Next is amount received as a share of income from his HUF. What do we do with this? Is it a taxable receipt? And if yes, under which head of income? Amount received as a share of income from Hindu undivided family. This particular receipt is not liable for tax. A Hindu undivided family, as all of you know, can have its own sources of income like business, investment income, etc. And whenever it earns income, HUF will pay tax on it. After the HUF pays taxes, the leftover portion of income can be distributed between the members. Karta will decide how to distribute this because it is not like a partnership where you have fixed share of profit. So Karta will decide. And then this amount, when it is received by the member of HUF, it will not be liable for tax. The concern exemption is available under section 10, subsection 2. So there is no taxability of this 1 lakh rupees. We have to give the exemption related note. Then you have discount received. What about discount received? Can you consider this as business income or not? Is it income incidental to the business? The answer is yes. You receive discount from your suppliers, and therefore it is an incidental income related to the business or profession. So that will be taxable as income from business only. Next is recovery of bad debts, 18,000. Now there is information on that. We'll discuss this now itself. Okay. It says that the bad debts recovered during the year were not allowed as deduction in earlier previous years. Now see the sequence of these things. In earlier year, you have claimed some deduction for bad debts. That was not allowed. Maybe you did not satisfy the conditions. Maybe the assessee was not able to prove the genuineness of bad debts for whatever reason. The bad debts were not allowed as a deduction to the assessee in the earlier year. And now the same bad debt is recovered by the assessee, and we are discussing the taxability of this bad debt. If you receive any amount as recovery of bad debts, there are two possible scenarios. One scenario, earlier years you have claimed and that deduction was allowed. And second scenario, Earlier year, you were not allowed that particular deduction. In the first scenario, when you are allowed a deduction of bad debts, if subsequently amount is recovered, it will be liable for tax as income from business or a profession. There is a section 41 which deals with balancing charge, and under balancing charge, this amount will be considered as a income from business or profession. The condition is you should have been allowed that deduction of bad debts in the earlier year. Then subsequent recovery becomes taxable. But if you were not allowed the deduction earlier, then subsequent recovery cannot be taxed in the hands of the assessee. Now we are exactly fitting into the second case. It says that the bad debts recovered during the year were not allowed as deduction in earlier year. So in that particular year, the assessee tried, but he was not allowed a deduction for bad debt for whatever reason. Then subsequent recovery of that sum will not be taxed. But if you were allowed a deduction and if there is a subsequent recovery, then it will be taxed as income. Okay. So in the given case, recovery of bad debts is not liable for tax. We will write a note after we complete the question on that. But basically, recovery of bad debts is not going to be taxed in this case because earlier it was not allowed as a deduction. Then going further, you have the rental income of house property 1. Remember, he has two properties. One is HP1, which is let out. Second one, HP2, is a self-occupied property. So we have to deal with two properties under the head income from house property. And then expenses are there. We will identify which are not allowed as deduction. As we proceed with the discussion, we will identify those expenses where possible disallowance may have to be considered. If you see the notes, he is paying some interest and on home loans, and that is included in interest on finance charges. Your P&L account has a head interest and finance charges. So this includes the interest on home loan. So we will have to consider this when we compute the income from business or profession. We will see to be done for this particular item of income. So with this brief discussion, we can proceed. Okay. So we can directly start with the header statement showing computation of total income. Now that earlier part we can skip. Okay. We can directly start with this statement showing computation of total income for the year ended on 31st March 2020. Okay. So particulars and figure. Now, as I said, we are going to have two heads of income. First is income from house property. Now, for income from house property, we are going to leave sufficient space because you have two properties there. One is self-occupied property and another one is a laid-out property. So we will have to leave at least 8 to 9 or perhaps 10 lines safer side, okay, for that particular head of income. At least 8 to 9 lines I am expecting to be there. So leave about 9 lines at least for income from house property. Okay. And then we start with income. All of you are ready with the format, so we can start working on the numbers. Yes. Can we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So yes, the starting point will be net profit as per P&L account. Net profit as per profit and loss account, 6,11,600. And our usual statement there, add expenses not allowed as deduction or considered separate. add expenses not allowed as deduction or considered separately. So we start with the expenditure side. The first item is salaries and bonus. Salaries and bonus are both eligible for deduction because these are part and parcel of your income from business or profession. So both will be allowed as deduction without any adjustment whatsoever. The next is office rent. Again, office rent, there is no specific information to say that it is going to be disallowed. So we need not add back. We did not make any adjustment. Travel and conveyance, do we have any additional information? Yes. It says that 20% of travel expenses are considered as personal. Okay. So that means travel and conveyance, a part of that has to be added back. So travel and conveyance dash 20% as personal. 20% of 36,000, that is 7,200. 1,200 is getting added back on account of travel and conveyance because 20% will be disallowed. Then you have bad debts. Bad debts, these are the losses incurred during the year and these will be allowed as deduction. So there is no reason to make any adjustment for these bad debts. So these bad debts will be fully allowed as a deduction. Absolutely no issue in claiming these bad debts as a deduction. Next is interest and finance charges, and there is additional information on that. It says that there are two properties, HP1 and HP2, and he has paid interest on home loans, and this interest is included in interest and finance charges. Now this 12,000 plus 24,000, 36,000 is a home loan interest. That home loan is utilized for purchase or construction of the property, and accordingly you can claim a deduction when you compute the income from property. But for business you have not used these funds, so when you compute the income from business you have to disallow these expenses. It is not for the purpose of business. The interest is not related to the loans which were used for the purpose of business. So in the business income we are going to add back interest. So next will be 36,000 disallowance, that is 12 plus 24, and we will write here on home loan included in interest. Interest on home loan included in interest and finance charges. So that 36,000 rupees has to be added back. Have you understood this adjustment? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, let us see what it is. Office expenses are usual business expenses. Same is the case with selling expenses. Those are also usual business expenses. Then there is a depreciation which you are going to add back because as per income tax rules, you have depreciation amount eligible 65,000. So we have to add back this 79,000. So let us add back 79,000 of depreciation which will be considered separately by us. Then entertainment, it says 25% is personal, so we have to add back. So entertainment 5%. So out of entertainment, 25%. .50 will be disallowed. Any difficulty till now?
No, sir.
Next is income tax. Income tax, as we have already discussed earlier also, income tax is not an allowable expenditure. Any amount which is paid as profit on tax, as a tax on profit rather, not profit on tax, tax on profit, like income tax is disallowed. Same is the case with wealth tax also. Next is a drawing, 1,20,000 rupees. Can we claim a deduction for drawings? Yes. Is it permissible? Can we claim the deduction for drawing? What is the meaning of drawings? What does it mean? ड्राइंग का मतलब क्या है? Yes, anybody? What is the meaning of drawing? It's a personal withdrawal by the proprietor, isn't it? Is it an expenditure? The answer is no. These are personal withdrawals for personal expenses by the proprietor or partner from the business. So it has got nothing to do with the business expenditure as such. So drawings will not be disallowed. Drawing is not an allowable expenditure. So we add back drawings also. Next is interest on capital. We are talking of a proprietor, and the proprietor had charged as one of the expenditure as interest on capital. The question is it allowed? The answer is no. For a proprietary business, interest on capital is not treated as a allowable expenditure. So we have to add back all these things. See, in a partnership firm, yes, subject to certain conditions, it can be allowed as a deduction, but not in case of a proprietary business that you can claim interest on capital. Even salary to proprietor is not allowed. Salary to partner is allowed as expenditure in the hands of the partnership firm, but not in case of a proprietary concern. Proprietary concern cannot claim the deduction like interest on capital, interest on loan of a proprietor, or salary to proprietor. These are not allowable expenses in case of a proprietary concern, proprietary form. So interest on capital is disallowed. Next is staff welfare. There is no further information about staff welfare. So we will assume that the staff welfare is entirely for business and it is fully allowed as a deduction. Any difficulty about the addition so far or adjustment so far?
No, sir.
Yes? Can we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we have to go to the credit side of P&L account. The debit side is over. So from credit side, we'll have to say less deductions and items considered separate. So leave one or two lines and then say less deductions and items considered separate. Now let us go to the credit side. As I said, this amount received as share of income from HUF is not liable for tax. So we'll have to reduce this. Okay. Discount received is a business receipt, so no adjustment is required. Rent of a house property is also considered separately, so we have to reduce this. And recovery of bad debts, what did we discuss? This will not be taxable. Okay. So these are the three items that we have to reduce. When you arrive at the income from profession, income from business. So three items we'll have to consider here: amount received as share of income from HUF, recovery of bad debts, and rent of HP1. Okay, there are three items that we have to exclude from its business income. So those will have to be shown as a deduction. Amount received as share of income from HUF 1 lakh rupees, recovery of bad debts 18,000, and rent of house property 1,20,000. Any difficulty about these three items?
No, sir.
No. So we'll just mention this exemption. Okay. Amount received as share of income from HUF is eligible for exemption under section 10 subsection 2. Okay, this is one note. One more note we will write, and that is about recovery of bad debts of 18,000. As I told you, the question says the bad debts were not allowed as deduction in earlier years, and in that case, it will not be taxed on recovery. Otherwise, it amounts to double taxation. If you tax it now also, it will amount to double taxation. So, you will not be taxing or considering this amount as a taxable income. So, recovery taxable. Deduction was not allowed in earlier previous years. Okay, so therefore we are going to reduce it from the business income. Can we go ahead with the next item? And next is depreciation as per IT rules. $65,000. We are given that as per IT rules, the amount of depreciation is 65,000. Any difficulty?
No, sir.
No. So whatever was given to us, most of it now we have considered. Okay, we have considered the entire credit side also of profit and loss account. Discount received, we are not going to make any adjustment because it is a normal income incidental to the business of the assessee. Otherwise, we have considered travel and conveyance, disallowance for that. We have considered home loan related adjustment, that is added back. Then depreciation added back and considered separately. Entertainment, some portion was added back, it is a personal. Income tax is added back, drawings are added back. Income, interest on capital is also added back. Income tax, drawings, interest on capital, entertainment, depreciation, travel, and home loan interest. So all the adjustments are taken care of. Now we go to HP, income from house property, which is the let out property HP1. So out HP, rent received, back. Are we given any municipal taxes paid? Is not given, so we assume to be 0. This is your net annual value. Yes. Deductions under section. One is standard deduction. Second is interest on home loan. For this property, HP1, what is the interest? 12,000 for HP1. Okay, so 12,000. Total of these two. So income from HP1. And the second one is self. gross annual value is nil, and only deduction is sorry, interest on home loan. Sorry. So income from HP. So effectively, both the properties put together, the income from house property is 48,000 rupees. First property is let out, second one is a self-occupied property. So for self-occupied property, the annual value is nil. Only deduction is interest on home loan, which is 24,000. And for HP1, we have regular deductions. Municipal tax is not there, so we ignore that. 30% of NAV and interest on a home loan. These are two permissible deductions there. Any difficulty in computation of income from house property? 48,000. I think by now all of you are quite familiar with these. Let us close the income from business. All of you have finished house property? Can we go to closure of income from business?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we already did all these things, additions, deductions, etc. All the adjustments are also taken care of. Okay, we have to only take the totals. So the subtotal. Deductions. Like 3,000 is a deduction, and as a result, this is your income from business. So income from business and income from house property. This is your gross total. $6,93,550. All of you have completed the solution?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any difficulty with any of the issues involved in this question? Any
No, sir.
step where you need additional explanation? I need to repeat the clarification. Anything of that sort?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, in rest, whatever 15 minutes are left out, I'll discuss few objective questions. Okay. I will type out a few things over here. You can write down, and then we will discuss. Basically, what we are going to do is we are going to discuss and find out whether these are allowed as deduction in computation of business income. Okay. So I'll type out in a set of 5. Okay, so I'll write down a few items and we will decide whether these are taxable or not taxable as business income. First set of 5 questions. You can write down and then we will discuss. Can we discuss one by one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First one says penalty paid for non-compliance with customs regulations while importing raw materials. What about this expenditure? Is it allowed as deduction? Yes, can we claim this as deduction?
No, sir.
Penalty is paid because you did not comply with the customs regulations while importing the raw material. Is it allowed?
No, sir.
It will not be allowed as a deduction. Why it will not be allowed as deduction? If you recall our discussion on section 37, okay, section 37 says, 37.1 rather to be specific, the expenditure should not be the one which is for non-compliance with law, etc. Okay, here it is a payment made for non-compliance with law, and therefore disallowed under section 37(1). Section 37. Penalty paid to a customer for delay in supply of materials as per agreement. What about this? This loss or this penalty, will it be allowed as deduction? Yes, this will be allowed as deduction because this is a loss incidental to the business. Okay. Contractual obligation. You have a contract, you have commitment with the customer that you will supply the goods within a specified time, and if there is a failure to do that, then it will be treated as a loss which is incidental to business. The penalty is paid to the customer and it is loss incidental to the business. Legal fees paid to protect the patent right. You are having a patent right and there is some legal issue. Patent right is your capital asset. So there is some issue with the patent right and you want to protect your patent right. So you have paid legal fees. Will it be allowed as deduction? Can we claim the deduction? Is it a revenue expenditure or a capital expenditure? It's a revenue expenditure. You are only protecting the capital, your patent right. You are not acquiring capital patent right. You are only protecting a patent right, and legal fees are paid for that. So this is allowed as a deduction. This is a normal deduction. You pay legal fees for various things. There are court cases against the company, against the business. There are cases by customers. There are cases by suppliers. There are cases by others. Okay. So in that, you pay the legal fees. Same way you have paid legal fees to protect your patent right. It will be allowed as a deduction. Bonus payable to employees outstanding on 31st March, that is the last day of the accounting year, but paid before the due date of filing of income tax return. We have discussed section 43B, and section 43B also covers payment to employees in the nature of bonus and leave encashment. It also covers gratuity. So if these amounts are outstanding on 31st March but paid before due date of filing of income tax return, these are allowed as deduction. He says if these are paid before due date, it will be allowed as a deduction. There is no problem in claiming the deduction. Then contribution to recognized provident fund outstanding on 31st March, paid after the due date as per PF rules, but before due date of filing of income tax return. Can we claim this? This is also hit by 43B. 43B also covers contribution to recognized provident fund outstanding on 31st March. Now, what has happened in this case? You have crossed the deadline as per PF rules. Maybe PF rule says for March you have to pay the contribution by 14th April. So you did not pay by 14th April. You pay sometime in on 30th April. And your due date of income tax return is, let's say, 30th of November now. But before due date of return, you have already paid that, but you have crossed the limit for payment within the PF rules. So can you claim it as a deduction? Is it permissible? The answer is yes. It will be allowed or permitted under 43B. The reason being, 43B says if these amounts are paid before due date of income tax return, you should get a deduction. And in the given case, the amounts are paid before due date of income tax return. So if it is paid before due date of income tax return, yes, it should be allowed as a deduction. Okay. Even if you take a delay as per PF rules, that is not relevant here. We have to see what the provisions are as per income tax law, and as per income tax law, these sums should be allowed as deduction as long as they are paid before due date of income tax return. Any difficulty in these 5 items?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll write down couple of more which are there in my mind at this point in time, and then only we'll wind up the lecture after discussing those 2-3 items. Okay. Okay. The first one is donations. Can we claim deduction for donation? Is it allowed as deduction? If you give any donations while you are carrying on the business and debit it to profit and loss account, can we claim a deduction for that? The answer is no. These are expressly disallowed because you can't comply the requirements of section 37(1). Okay, the reason is when you give donation, it is a charitable purpose and it is not a business purpose. When you give the donation, there is no business purpose. It is not going to be related directly or indirectly with your business. So these are charitable purposes, and charitable purpose is not a business purpose. So it will not be allowed as a deduction. Next is cost of free samples. Can we claim a cost of free samples distributed as a deduction? The answer is yes. These are allowed as deduction. What is the cost of free samples? It's your business promotion. It's your business promotion or advertising kind of a expenditure. So it has to be allowed as a deduction. Loss of cash in a theft. There is a theft in the premises, business premises. Cash is stolen. Will that be allowed as a deduction? Yes, if there is a loss of cash due to theft in the premises, can we claim it as a deduction in computing business income? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes, it will be allowed as a deduction. See, these are sort of routine risks which you have to take when you carry on the business. There is a possibility that cash might be stolen due to theft or otherwise, and then that will be a normal business loss. There is a loss of stock by fire and there was no insurance cover. Okay, so some stock is lost by fire and it did not have the insurance cover. Will it be allowed as deduction?
No, sir.
It will still be allowed as deduction. See, income tax doesn't say that insurance is mandatory. There is a requirement of insurance being mandatory as per income tax. So whether insurance cover was there or not, if there is a loss of stock by fire, which is related to the business, it's a trading loss related to the business, and that should be allowed as a deduction. Whether insurance cover is there or not, irrespective of that, such losses which are incidental to the business are allowed as deduction. Loss of stock due to embezzlement by employees. Employees have misappropriated stocks. They have walked away with some items of stocks somehow, and there is a misappropriation of stock, embezzlement of stock by the employees. Will it be allowed as deduction? some fraud made by employees, and they have manipulated and misappropriated items of stock. Can it be allowed as deduction? Will it be allowed as deduction? The answer is yes. This is also allowed as deduction. See, these are again sort of incidental losses to the business. Stock is a current asset. This is a trading loss, as we call it as. So this will be allowed as a deduction. Loss of stock due to embezzlement by employees, misappropriation by employees, misappropriation of cash by employees. Okay, all these are trading losses related to the business, inherent risk related to the business. So these must be allowed as a deduction when you compute the income from business or a profession. Okay, are you clear on these 5 items also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So with that, I think we will wind up today's session. Let me close the recording first.